welcome to ENI UK and Europe edition. I'm Giancarlo Matera, reporting from London. We'll be bringing you news reports from the United Kingdom and Europe. And we have our live reporters with us on standby, ready to give their reports. On our program today, Scotland approves a vaccine passports for high-risk events. The French warned the United Kingdom of the risk of intercepting migrant boats crossing the English Channel. And we are joined live by Arabelle Celestino. Hello, Arabelle.
Hi, Giancarlo. And today I will be reporting about a Banksy painting which was partially shredded going back on sale. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Arabelle. Also joining us from our EBC Bureau in Italy is Jenny Santiago. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Giancarlo. Thank you. I'll be reporting about the updates regarding the rules for traveling in Italy.
Thank you so much, Jenny. We also have a report from our French Bureau on the French president unveiling a 1.5 billion euro plan to help the struggling city of Marseille. And we have our sports update as well. This week, a report is from Ryan Florentino. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, Giancarlo. And yes, we have Britain's young star, Emma Raducanu, along with longtime friend Canadian Leylah Fernandez, reaching the final four players at the US Tennis Open.
Thank you so much, Ryan. We look forward to that report later in the program. We will end our show, of course, this week again with our view from our window. This week, we had a beautiful view from the capital of the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Scotland's Parliament on Thursday backed the introduction of COVID-19 vaccine passports for high. The measure will allow businesses to remain open and help avoid further restrictions as autumn and winter approach. We do all we can to stem the rise in cases, and vaccine certification will form part of a range of measures which can help us do so, said the Health Secretary. We do not want to reimpose any of the restrictions that have been in place for much of this year, as we all know how much harm they have caused to businesses, to education, and to people's general well-being. But we must stem the rise in cases. The new measures mean that proof of vaccination will be required to enter live events, both indoors and outdoors, where people are unseated. Any event with more than 10,000 people in attendance will also require vaccine certificates. Staff will use a verifier app to check the vaccine status of those attending. The requirement would motivate younger people to get jabbed. We want to ensure that as many people get vaccinated as possible, and particularly to increase the uptake in the younger age groups. So anything that can help to incentivize this is helpful. Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, told the devolved Parliament earlier this week that vaccine passports were needed to be implemented rapidly because of the rise in cases in Scotland in recent weeks had been extremely concerning. Case levels are now 5 times higher than 4 weeks ago, she said. This is largely due to the reopening of schools in Scotland several weeks ago and the prevalence of the highly transmittable Delta variant of COVID-19. Top French officials warn of a risk of intercepting migrant boats. According to coastal security forces, there have been 15,400 attempted crossings between France and the UK up to August 31st of this year, making it a rise of 50% from last year. A record 828 people crossed over from France in a single day late August, as traffickers took advantage of favorable late summer weather. The explosion in migrant sea crossings from a level of roughly 600 people in 2019 has caused tension between France and Britain, which have already been at loggerheads over Brexit and fishing rights in recent years. And as the number of crossing increases, coastal security forces face a more preoccupying number of boats and people to rescue. Between last Sunday and Wednesday alone, the French Coast Guard rescued close to 200 people and 11 boats. At first, migrants used to take small dinghies, but more recently, they have now taken the sea route in overloading semi-rigged inflatables that carry 20, 30, 40 people, sometimes more than 50, including the women and children. A top French Coast Guard official has highlighted the risk that comes with attempting to intercept these boats. Approaching a vessel to bar its way would mean running the risk of causing people to move on board, which would add further risk to a situation that is already extremely dangerous. What's more important is saving lives, he added. Due to the number of boats heading towards the UK waters, the French Coast Guard's resources are almost entirely taken up by all the rescue missions. Tensions grew strong on Thursday between Britain and France over reported plans by London to turn back boats carrying migrants across the Channel. It's time for a break now, but please come back for some more ENI UK and Europe edition.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Hello! Ako po si Avon Rosales at may tutuparin akong isang letter sender request ngayong linggo, September 12, sa Letters and Music from 1 to 2 p.m. Dito lamang po sa Net 25. I'll see you guys there.
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe edition. I'm Giancarlo Matera, now for some more interesting stories from around the United Kingdom and Europe this week. A canvas by British artist Banksy, which was partially shredded moments after its selling at auction in 2018, will go back under the hammer next month, according to Sotheby's, and is expected to sell for millions. To tell us more, here's Arabelle Celestino. Hello, Arabelle.
Hi, Giancarlo, and yes, a canvas by British artist Banksy, which was partially shredded moments after selling at auction in 2018, will go back under the hammer next month by Sotheby's said on Friday. The artwork, now called Love is in the Bin, will be offered for sale by London auction house on October 14, with an estimated selling price of £4 to £6 million, which is equivalent to $6 to $8 million and 5 to 7 million euros. The painting, originally entitled Girl with Balloon, sold for nearly 1.1 million pounds at the same location in October 2018, is now being resold by the unnamed collector who purchased it. The canvas unexpectedly passed through a shredder hidden in the large Victorian-style frame moments after the bidding ended, partially destroying it and stunning the art world. And well, Giancarlo, the prank was orchestrated by the elusive and irreverent Banksy, whose identity is said to be known to only a handful of friends. That surreal evening 3 years ago, I became the accidental but very privileged owner of Love is in the Bin, the collector said in a statement released by Sotheby's. It has been an incredible journey to have been part of the story of how one of the most famous artworks in the world came to be. But now it is time to let the painting go. The part-shredded canvas, which was exhibited for a month at a museum in Germany in 2019, depicts a small child reaching up toward a heart-shaped red balloon. As you may know, it was originally stenciled on a wall in East London and has been endlessly reproduced, becoming one of Banksy's best-known images. The painting will go on public display at Sotheby's in London for 2 days from Saturday, before embarking on a global tour to Hong Kong, Taipei, and New York ahead of returning to the British capital. Alex Branchak, Sotheby's contemporary art chairman, said Banksy's stunt at its late sale did not much destroy an artwork by shredding it, but instead created one. Today, this piece is considered heir to a venerated legacy of anti-establishment art. He added, calling it the ultimate Banksy artwork and a true icon of recent art history. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much, Arabelle. Could you tell us a little bit more about that shredded painting and also a little bit about Banksy's latest project?
Well, Giancarlo, the shredding of the painting was the latest in a long history of unpredictable moves by the street artist. And to give you a little bit of his background story, Banksy rose to fame for his stenciled graffiti pieces, often highly satirical, on buildings in Britain and worldwide. And about his latest works, some of them have appeared recently in several British seaside towns. And I also wanted to mention that in March, he created a work to honor caregivers during the pandemic that fetched a record around £14.4 million at auction. And it was then donated to the National Health Service, or NHS. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Okay, thank you so much, Arabelle, for bringing us that story today.
Thank you so much, Giancarlo, for having me today. Reporting from London, United Kingdom, I'm Arabelle Celestino, and we live in interesting times.
Okay, in Italy now, major changes are in place from September, affecting those planning to travel in and out of the country. This is in an effort to tackle the growing coronavirus situation around the globe and within Italy. We have EBC correspondent Jenny Santiago with us today, giving us this report. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Giancarlo. Thank you. Rules for travel to and within Italy have changed in response to the developing coronavirus situation in different parts of the world and inside the country. On Tuesday, August 31st, the Italian Ministry of Health's new travel ordinance came into force, tightening restrictions on travel from some countries and lifting them for others. Here are the major changes for tourists visiting in September. Travelers from the US, Canada, Japan, and Israel will now need to quarantine for 5 days upon entering Italy, unless they can produce a certificate from their local health authority showing that they have been fully vaccinated for at least 14 days or have recovered from COVID in the last 180 days, and a negative PCR or antigen test taken in the 72 hours before their arrival. Travelers who only produce one of these items will be subject to quarantine requirements. All those required to quarantine will also have to take a test as soon as their isolation period ends. This represents a tightening of restrictions, as previously passengers from these countries were only required to present a vaccination or recovery certificate or a negative test result in order to avoid quarantine. For the first time since June, passengers from the UK will not be required to quarantine upon their arrival in Italy if they can produce a certificate of vaccination showing the holder has been fully vaccinated for at least 14 days. In this instance, proof of recovery from COVID-19 in the past 6 months is not accepted. Travelers will also need to take a molecular PCR or rapid antigen test in the 48 hours before their arrival in the country. Arrivals without a vaccination certificate will continue to be subject to a 5-day self-isolation period, following which they will need to take a test. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for that information. Could we ask also about the Green Pass? Is it still required there in Italy?
Yes, so proof of vaccination, testing, or recovery via the Certificazione Verde or Green Pass scheme has been required since August 6th in order to enter many cultural and leisure venues across Italy. Children under 12 are exempt from the Green Pass requirement. Italy recognizes all equivalent health passes from other European countries and proof of immunization issues from any of these 5 non-European countries, including on paper. That means visitors just need to carry the official proof of vaccination issues by their home country, such as a CDC-approved vaccination card from the US, a provincial immunization card from Canada, or an NHS vaccination certificate from the UK. If travelers do not have a pass from one of these countries and plan on using public transport in Italy that requires a Green Pass, they will need to get tested in Italy in order to claim a certificate that remains valid for 48 hours. The Italian Health Pass can be obtained by taking a rapid antigen or PCR test in Italy. The certificate comes in a standardized format with a QR code so that it can be quickly scanned and verified. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for bringing us that report this week and keeping us up to date with the developments there in Italy.
Thank you for having me. Reporting from EBC Milan, Italy, I am Jenny Santiago, and we live in interesting times.
Okay, it's time for another break now, but please come back for some more ENI UK and Europe edition.
It's time to take one step further and face the impossible. Time to search the unknown and fight for the truth. Time to overcome boundaries and connect the world. It's time for DW News.
Broadcast journalist Wayne De La Fuente returns on Philippine television and radio to deliver top stories and engage with the country's policymakers, shapers, and movers. Tatalakayin ang mga pangunahing balita live sa teleradyo ng Net25 at Radyo Aguila DCEC 1062. Kasama si Wayne De La Fuente sa
At itong balitalakayan, we live in interesting times.
Di mo manabot ang yakap ko, hawak mo naman ang puso ko. Wala mo na kong ginhawa para di mo, basta pag-amping lang yun para na ko. Ang mga sandaling lumipas na.
Hey guys, ako nga pala si Dodong Dave at abangan niyo po ako bilang isang guest performer sa #Letters and Music ngayong Sunday at September 12 around 1 to 2 p.m. Siyempre dito lamang sa Net25. See ya!
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe Edition. Now for some more interesting stories from around Europe this week. In Marseille, France, the French president reveals plans to help as the southern city's woes rise up in the agenda ahead of the elections upcoming next year. Here's Febeline Calpo with her report. Let's watch.
On Thursday, President Emmanuel Macron unveiled a €1.5 billion plan to help Marseille tackle crime and poverty. The president had already summarized other measures, including increase the number of police and surveillance cameras in crime-racked neighborhoods. Also, Macron aides said the money would be used on improving transportation as well as investing in culture. Macron's aide added that there would also be funding to renovate the city's dilapidated schools and improve substandard housing. Crime levels in Marseille are lower than the past year, but a rise in deadly shooting has moved the city's long-standing social problem up the political agenda. During his 3-day visit to the city, Macron has called drug networks parasites and said traffickers would now be harassed by the authorities. While Marseille is famous for its striking Mediterranean setting and gritty charm, some neighborhoods are notorious for rundown streets and desolate housing estates. 500 other surveillance cameras would be placed in the most dangerous neighborhoods, 200 extra police deployed next year, and the temporary deployment of 2 anti-riot police contingents extended definitely, Macron said. And he also said that living in peace is a right, including for the women, men, and families living in these neighborhoods. City police will also get a new headquarters, Macron said, promising more police cooperation to hunt down the leaders on narcotic networks. He also said that it's now the duty of the nation to help, and that improving conditions on the city of 900,000 would be good for the country. I am Febeline Calpo for Eagle News International. We live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Febeline, for your update from France. Now we go to our sports report, where tennis superstar Emma Raducanu has her eyes set on reaching her first Grand Slam final at the US Open, along with writing history as she tries to become the first British woman to win a Grand Slam title since Virginia Wade at Wimbledon in 1977. We have Ryan Florentino here with more. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, Giancarlo, and yes, Raducanu, a British 18-year-old who became the first US Open qualifier to reach the Final Four, and Fernandez, a Canadian who beat Naomi Osaka before turning 19 on Monday, both have starring roles in Thursday's women's semi-finals at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Fernandez, a 73rd ranked left-hander, will face Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus, who has matched her deepest slam run from July at Wimbledon, while 150th ranked Raducanu faces Greek Maria Sakkari. One of the four will capture her first Grand Slam title in Saturday's final, which could be an electrifying prodigy battle. I've known Layla since we were juniors in under-12s, Raducanu said. We've played in Orange Bowl and all of those other tournaments. I played in her junior Wimbledon, actually, she added. Serena Williams, a 23-time Grand Slam champion who turns 40 later this month, won her first major title at the 1999 US Open at age 17, 3 years before Raducanu or Fernandez were born. Raducanu, only the fourth qualifier in the semis at any slam, could become the first qualifier to reach a Grand Slam final. We're all just super hungry to make a difference in the tennis world, said Fernandez. I'm just glad we're doing that. Such great jobs and doing just that. Tokyo Olympic champion Belinda Bencic, beaten by Raducanu in a quarterfinal, hopes the rising stars will receive a nurturing environment to develop. Sabalenka, 23, is looking forward to facing crowd darling Fernandez, whose poise under pressure and powerful shot making have produced shock upsets. She's a great player, she's fighting for every point, the crowd are there and they are supporting her loud, Sabalenka said. RADUCANU, who handed out cupcakes in the locker room to celebrate her birthday, has not lost a single set at the Open. She is trying to become the first British woman to win a Grand Slam title since Virginia Wade at Wimbledon in 1977, and the first British woman to win the US Open since Wade in 1968. RADUCANU became the youngest US Open women's semi-finalist since Maria Sharapova in 2005. To have so many young players here doing so well, it shows how strong the next generation is, RADUCANU said. And her opponent, Sakari, 26, has defeated 3 top 10 seeds in Petra Kvitova, Karolina Pliskova, and Bianca Andreescu. Predictions for the final 2 players are still up for guesses, but both RADUCANU and Fernandez seem to be on a blazing run, and the young stars have a chance on meeting together in the finals. Please tune in next week for the finals results, and we shall always keep you updated in the sports world. Giancarlo?
Thank you so much, Ryan, for that interesting story once again.
Thank you, Giancarlo. Reporting from the United Kingdom for ENI UK and Europe edition, I'm Ryan Florentino, and we live in interesting times.
Okay, in today's View from our window, we go to Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands. It is well known for its 100 kilometers of canals and has approximately 90 islands, which are linked by more than 1,500 bridges. That's why this city is also called the Venice of the North. The canals of Amsterdam are surrounded by historical buildings. Because of this, throughout the year, canal tours are popular amongst tourists. Amsterdam is not only known for their historical attractions, but also for its collection of great art. Visitors can get a glimpse of art collections of Rembrandt and Vermeer, or admire Van Gogh's masterpiece at the Van Gogh Museum. This view is courtesy of Mark Magasso from our EBC Netherlands Bureau. Thank you so much for this wonderful view, Mark. And that's it for our program today. We hope you stay safe and keep positive as we bring you more stories next week from around the United Kingdom and Europe. I'm Giancarlo Matera, and we live in interesting times.